Welcome to BEMER Technology. My name is Anne Bernard. I'm an acupuncturist and naturopath from Petaluma, California, but originally from France. I've been using the BEMER for 10 years with my patients with absolutely incredible results. Every time I do acupuncture, I use the BEMER in conjunction. It really works. BEMER has been on the market for 15 years. You see the headquarters in Liechtenstein between Switzerland and Austria. And it has about 60 employees at the BEMER headquarters and over 1 million users worldwide. We are distributed in 46 countries around the world. In most of the countries, the BEMER is a medical device class 2. And in America, we are a medical device class 1. Pending FDA approval, papers are in process. Since we are registered with the FDA, medical doctors can use the BEMER in their practice. And we have so many doctors introducing it to their patients right now. It's a very exciting time. I'd like to start this webinar by looking at our state of health. Do you think we're healthy? Unfortunately not. And are you aware that when we have symptoms, these symptoms are oftentimes just the tip of the iceberg? Prior to symptoms, most likely weeks, months, or years before, physiologically there was a lot happening, like under the iceberg. And I would say that there was some problem at your circulatory level. For some reason, your blood flow was not going optimally everywhere it should go. Your cells were not getting the proper nutrients and oxygen needed. The detoxification process was not working optimally. And little by little, your organs are degenerating. And we're all unique. We have different constitution, different genetics, and wherever your weakest spot is, that is where your symptom will arise. For some people, it might be neurological, from others, digestive, from others, joints, muscular problems. We all unique. But I would say that a big part of your problem started because your blood flow was not ideal. Do you know that we were supposed to be hunters and gatherers? That's what nature had designed for us. We were designed to cover 20-30 miles a day barefoot on the ground, being very active. Do you know what the average distance once covered in America? About half a mile. This is devastating. And what's the result of that? Do you know what's the number one cause of death in America? Heart disease, stroke, heart attack, circulatory disorder, number one reason why we're dying. What's the second reason? Cancer. And what's the third? Side effect of medication, wrong prescribed medication, wrong cocktails of medication. This is devastating. We need to do something about that. And this third reason is climbing to position 2. So what can we do? Well, we have an amazing technology available to us, the BEMER. And I want to show you what happens in your body when you lay on this BEMER. Here, the person is laying on the BEMER, but the BEMER is off. And we can see little red blood cells stuck in the tiniest vessels like a little traffic jam. And the matrix around is not getting proper nutrients and oxygen, and that's when you start having pain. Now, 2 minutes later, look how all these capillaries now are open. The freeway is open, and the matrix around is getting nutrients, oxygen, energy. And oftentimes, people on the BEMER, what do they feel? They feel a sensation of warmth and tingling. But if you touch the mat, the BEMER is not hot. There is no warmth being generating from the BEMER. It's your own body that's generating this energy, this warmth, because all the tiny capillaries are opening up and you have this sensation of warmth. And oftentimes you feel tinglings in your extremities because these tiniest capillaries open up. Is this scientifically proven? Yes, we have 15 years of research, of double-blind studies, and you can find our studies on PubMed. And we are proving the effect that the BEMER has on microcirculation and as a result on our immune system. Let's talk about circulation. You're probably familiar with, we have arteries and veins and a heart that pumps blood, but do you understand what microcirculation is? Because that is where the BEMER has an impact. BEMER doesn't impact big veins and arteries, only our smallest vessels. So microcirculation is the network of the smallest vessels that we have in our body. And this is one of the most important parameters because this is where all the exchange of nutrients and oxygen happens. There is no exchange in veins and arteries. Those are just tubes, conductor of blood. But the exchange only happens in our smallest vessels because they only have one layer of cells of thickness so that the nutrients and oxygen can diffuse into our cells. If we look in our entire vessel system, did you know that 11.5% represent our arteries? Then 14.5% are our veins, and the rest, 74%, which is 3/4 of our entire circulation of our entire vessels, are small capillaries. And if we had to lay these capillaries on a surface area, we would cover about an entire football field. And if we would take all these smooth vessels together to form a tube, we would have a tube of about 75,000 miles long, and we would wrap around the Earth 2.5 times. This is how genius our body is made. Because we have to nourish about 80 to 100 trillion cells from head to toe. All our cells have to be reached by these tiniest vessels. So now we have these miles and miles of vessels, and we have a heart, the size of a fist, that's pumping about 2,000 gallons of blood per day. Do you think that this little heart can just pump through miles and miles and miles of vessels? If you had to reproduce this in a lab, you will not succeed. The pump will be too small. Nonetheless, our human body is alive. So how is this working? We have discovered not too long ago that there is a mechanism in place that we call cardiac assistance, and we call it vasomotion. What is that? Right before our smallest vessel, the capillaries, our little venules and arterioles are able to pump in a rhythmic fashion. In a healthy individual, this pumping action should happen 3 to 5 times per minute. And as you can see on the screen, this pumping action is just pushing the blood through, so it's supporting the heart to pump blood all over. But now we have a problem, because are we healthy? Unfortunately, not so much. And most of the time, this mechanism is impaired. So the minute we're aging, just as we pass 20 years old, we're already aging, this vasomotion starts to not act as well. And then if we have a condition, let's say we're suffering from diabetes, instead of having 3 to 5 times pumping action per minute, then we may have only 1 time per 10 minutes. And this is devastating. And particularly to what organ? Our heart. And remember, what's the #1 cause of death in America? Heart attack, heart disease, circulatory disorder. Our heart is not getting the support it needs if you don't have a vasomotion that works 3 to 5 times per minute, like it should be. Why am I talking about this mechanism in the context of BEMER? Dr. Klopp from the Institute of Microcirculation in Berlin has discovered that the BEMER signal triggers this vasomotion. So if you only had one pumping action per 10 minutes and you start using the BEMER, now you may have one pumping action per minute. It's still not 3 to 5 times per minute like it should be, but it's better than one time per 10 minutes. And that is why the BEMER is so efficient. If we look at the schematic of our vessels, we have the arterioles are becoming smaller and smaller, and we have the capillaries, the only place where the exchange of oxygen and nutrients happens. And then we have venules that are becoming bigger, and you have the veins. Within the first 2 minutes that you lay on the BEMER, what happens? We're using two different frequencies. A 10 Hz frequency that has an impact on heavy calibered arterioles and venules, and a 30 Hz average frequency that has an impact of the light calibered arterioles and venules. So within 2 minutes, we have a pumping action triggered here and here and here and here. What's the result of that? More blood flow is pushing through the capillaries, more exchange of oxygen and nutrients happens, and more removal of waste product is stimulated within 2 minutes. And the BEMER session lasts 8 minutes. So we're repeating that phenomenon 4 times in an 8-minute sessions. That's what happens when you lay on the BEMER. And I'd like to show it to you live. This is one of my favorite videos that we have from the Institute of Microcirculation. We're looking at a healthy individual that is chronically stressed, a young individual. So this person is laying on the BEMER, and we'll see what happened. First, no BEMER, then 2 minutes later, 3-4 minutes later, and 10 minutes later. So here, BEMER is not on. You notice on the left, the little capillaries are blocked, or very, very little blood goes through. So the matrix here is impaired of nutrients. And here on the right, we don't see any white blood cell flowing, or very little. Now, we'll see what happened that after 2 minutes that the BEMER is on. First of all, we start seeing white blood cells here. White blood cells are the little fighters in your body. They're supposed to roll very slowly on the vessel walls, recognize marker, come out, and engulf pathogens. Here the flow is also more open. People notice that after a few weeks of using their BEMER, they're not getting sick as often. Their immune system is running efficiently. Here is 3 to 4 minutes later. Notice all the white blood cells this time accumulating on the vessel wall. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. And how the blood flow is much more open here on the left. And last picture, 10 minutes later, look at again more white blood cells doing their job, blood flow open to the maximum. That's what your blood should be looking. So see the difference from the beginning, how it looked, and how at the end, after 10 minutes. So remember, BEMER session is only 8 minutes long. So what blood would you like to have? Let's imagine this is in your brain. This one or this one? Well, let me tell you, I want this blood here. I want my brain to be fully nourished of oxygen, nutrients, and get rid of toxins so that I can feel good. And that's why I've had this BEMER for the last 10 years, preserving my brain. And do you know what good side effect do you notice from having a BEMER? You will notice you are building more energy. This is a lovely side effect because one of the main complaints you may notice in your friend, what is it? Lack of energy. Look at how many people are lined up at Starbucks in the morning to try to open up their eyes and have a fresh functioning brain. They're exhausted. They need their caffeine boost or their Coca-Cola or all this poison in their body to keep going. Do you know that your body has no reserve of energy? Maybe only 1 or 2 seconds? You have to make your own body weight of energy per day, which is about an average of 150 pounds of ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate, which is the currency of your cells, which is the energy molecule that every cell in your body needs to function optimally. Why is that? We have about 21 sextillion chemical reaction that needs to happen per second. The energy is the catalyst of these reactions. If you are lacking energy, how do you think this chemical reaction will happen? And little by little, your whole body is going to break apart. We have had 3 different generations of BEMER. The first generation, the BEMER 3000, after one 8-minute session, you had 1 hour of lasting benefit and 15% increase in microcirculation. The second generation, BEMER 3000 Plus, one 8-minute session lasted for about 3 hours, a little more improvement in microcirculation. Now the new generation, the BEMER Classic and the BEMER Pro, one 8-minute session, and look at this. You have about 12 to 16 hours of benefits, a complete quantum leap. So in the past, I had patients telling me they had no time to do the BEMER 3 times a day. And now with the new generation, 8 minutes in the morning sometimes is just plenty enough. Here is a case of a diabetic person that has an ulcer for 3 years. And after 3 years, they had to plan an amputation. In case of diabetic, your microcirculation is very much impaired in your extremities. So if you have a wound and there is no circulation going, how do you expect your cells to divide, regenerate, and close the wound? It's not possible. Even if you bring medication, the medication will not reach the area because there is no blood flow. So what happens? You need to have an amputation because the area is rotting. And do you know how many amputations we have per year in this country? 41,000. This is terrible, and we can prevent it. Look, after 4 weeks of using the BEMER, and 8 weeks later, the wound is closed. Is this magic? No, this is pure logic. What happened there? With BEMER signal triggered vasomotion, stimulated the opening up of the tiniest capillaries, brought more blood flow to the cells, more nutrients, oxygen, allowed the cells to detoxify. We have an incredible internal doctor that knows exactly what to do when the cells get what they need. So that's why the wound closed here. Finally, circulation was triggered and the cells could divide and close the wound. And I can go on and on with all kinds of samples. Here, 88-year-old female with 2 years of conventional therapy. The wound looks pretty bad. Look what happens after just 9 months. Well, now you may say 9 months is a long time, but when you are 88 years old, your cells are not dividing that fast. When I look at these pictures, I'm thinking of all the people laying on hospital beds suffering from bed sores. Do you know that if we had BEMERs in every hospital bed, this will not be happening? Skin disease, acne, psoriasis, rashes, eczema, excellent result with the BEMER. Same principle, stimulating our own immune system, allowing detoxification, the body takes over. So look, after 15 days, 2 weeks after using the BEMER, how the skin recovered just by getting what it needs. Herpes zoster, terrible, painful condition. Same family, virus family as shingles. We have incredible results for shingles, by the way. If you have any friends starting shingles, get them on the BEMER ASAP. You will notice that they will not suffer from horrible neuralgia, most likely. So 3 days later, look at the eye of this man. Swelling is gone, the redness is gone. If you know anybody that's had this is remarkable. Accident. Look what happens after 12 days only of using the BEMER. And we were using the light. We also have a light attachment that is beautiful for skin, that helps stimulates elastin and collagen. So in this case of this person, really limit the scarring process of his skin. So you don't have to be sick or have any kind of condition to use the BEMER. I myself, I've been using it for 10 years. I'm not sick. I'm not sick at all. Why I'm using it? It is the best anti-aging tool that I can have. Taking care of my nutrition, taking care of exercising, and adding the BEMER to my life has been such an incredible help. I don't get sick anymore. I used to get a nasty cold or flu once a year. I don't even get that. And I travel a lot. I fly a lot. I use my BEMER when I'm flying. You can purchase a battery accessory so you don't have to plug your BEMER. And it lasts for 3 days once you have your battery on your BEMER. So I am with my BEMER everywhere I go. Best anti-aging tools. For bones, the BEMER triggers the little cells that makes bones, the osteoblasts, and they will multiply 3 to 5 times faster. So in case of a non-healing fracture, osteoporosis, osteopenia, excellent tool. And for that reason, we have been working with NASA for the last 2 years. And the next astronaut suit will have the BEMER technology in it because astronauts have incredible problems with bone loss, bone density problems, and immune system problems, and also fluid distribution. And the BEMER address all of these aspects. So we're very excited with our connection with NASA. BEMER is safe. You can use it on the eyes. We have more and more eye doctors in America using this technology. This picture, I got them from an ophthalmologist in Germany. Since he introduced the BEMER in his practice, he has reduced by half his usage of laser. Here you see it's diabetic retinopathy, a disease that a lot of diabetic people will have, and that's the number one reason that leads to blindness in diabetes. So it's very serious. And you see just after 9 months, here you have the degeneration area, the inflammation area, 2 months later and 9 months later, almost gone. We're getting an eye doctor in Washington who was sharing with us that in the case of cataract, he had 21 patients with cataract. 10 BEMER sessions later, 19 of them were completely free of cataract. So more to come on that. BEMER is safe with baby. Pregnant woman can use it. Premature baby can use it. You see the older motor inside the incubators. Why could they use it? Because the magnetic field that we use with BEMER is below the geomagnetic field of the Earth. The Earth's magnetic field is about 45 to 50 microtesla. The BEMER full body mat goes up to 35 microtesla. So if you can walk on the Earth, you can lay on the BEMER. If you have pacemaker, defibrillators, any kind of metal implants, not a problem. You can use the BEMER. It's not a contraindication whatsoever. So in case of premature babies, the BEMER triggers nitric oxide, a little molecule that dilates vessels. And premature baby dies oftentimes their lungs collapsing. So by releasing nitric oxide, the little vessel in their lungs stay dilated and they're saving their life. So in this clinic in Europe, they've noticed how many of these premature babies they were able to save just by introducing the BEMER. If you're not familiar with nitric oxide, I'm sure you've heard of Viagra, this drug. This drug releases nitric oxide chemically with all kinds of nasty side effects. I know a person that died of a heart attack after 1 dose of Viagra. So this is not a joke. But let me tell you, the good side of the story is that BEMER in a lot of ways can mimic Viagra. And I do not know of anyone that has ever died on the BEMER after millions of applications worldwide. So dump your Viagra, start using the BEMER. So people also suffer from infertility, prostate issue. BEMER is excellent. ED, same thing. Use the BEMER. And if you have problem with hair, know that a lot of people that have thinning hair may be due to lack of proper circulation in their scalp. So look at this lady. After a few months using the BEMER, her hair much thicker and the color came back, returned much darker. There is no color added here. We have many testimonials on hair. So just use the BPAT, wrap it up around your head and do it every day. I love the night cycle with the new BEMER, and I like to call it the night cycle and not the sleep program because you don't have to have problem with sleep to need to use it. How it works is our metabolism is very different during the day and at night. We only have about 4 to 5 liters of blood. And if all our vessels had to be open all at once, we would not have enough blood. So our body has to prioritize where is the blood going. So during the day, most of our blood goes into our musculoskeletal system, stomach, brain, everything that keeps us active. At night, our body needs to repair, regenerate, detoxify. So at night, most of the blood goes into the liver, kidney, intestine, skin, all the organs that are enhancing this process of repair and regeneration. When you're using the night cycle, the BEMER goes on for the first 2 hours of the night, then it stops, then it goes on again for the last 2 hours of the night. This will enhance this process. It will enhance the regeneration, the repair, and the detoxification that happens while you're sleeping. It's an incredible tool. You will most likely notice how you sleep deeper. You may not need as many hours of sleep. You will wake up feeling refreshed with less pain. The BEMER has an impact on your urine pH. Normally, the first urine in the morning should be acidic. We see an example, a control person did not use the BEMER at night. Before going to bed, urine was 7.2, which is alkaline. Upon rising, not using the BEMER, urine is 7, which is neutral. This is not good. Your first urine should be acidic because at night, your body is getting rid of metabolic waste, which are acidic. So that person I know had metabolic waste, but it didn't got released through the urine, so it got stored instead in the body. The body has to preserve its internal organs, so it's storing it away in the tissue, oftentimes muscles and joints. So what happens when you wake up in the morning? Oftentimes as you're aging, you feel stiff. You have aches and pain. It takes you half an hour to get out of bed. If you start using the night cycle day after day, look what happens. So the second sample here, that same person the night after used the night cycle. Urine pH before going to bed was the same, but upon rising, look at this. Now it became 6.1, which is acidic, which is excellent. So finally that person was able to get rid of metabolic waste. So can you see? If you would use this BEMER every day, using during the day to build up energy and use it at night to repair and detoxify, how you may feel day after day. Of course, it's not a fast process. You know, in naturopathy, we say it takes 1 month to heal 1 year of abuse. So wherever you are now, it took you years to reach that state. So don't expect a miracle, that there is no magic pill, there is nothing on the market right now that from one day to the other is going to erase your years of abuse. So with the BEMER, in orange here, we see how long it takes for people to be free of complaint. After 1 week of daily BEMER usage, about 5% of people felt complaint-free. After 4 weeks, about 40% felt complaint-free. And let's move on. After 6 weeks, about 70% are feeling complaint-free. And I'd like to see what happened after, 8 weeks, 3 months. Each BEMER session is cumulative. So the more you do, the better you feel. So when I have patients wanting to try the BEMER for a few days, I'm always like, no, well, you will not feel anything. You want to try it for a minimum of 8 weeks to fully feel the benefits of it. Yeah, you may feel more energy, you may feel things shifting, but it will take at least 8 weeks to fully assess what this technology can do for you. And if you have a debilitating condition, a very chronic condition, it may take even longer. But nonetheless, rest assured that every single time you lay on the BEMER, physiologically a lot is happening, even if you're not aware of it. And you saw it on the film. And if you think that the BEMER is a placebo effect, well, let me tell you, animals respond so well to it, even better than humans. Their brain is not getting in the way. Oftentimes, when I have people telling me, oh, I don't believe in the BEMER, well, let me tell you, BEMER is not a religion. You don't have to believe in it. Just lay your body on it for 8 weeks and just see what happens. So, in case of horses, we have phenomenal results. I have a friend, she's specializing with BEMER on horses. She has saved horses from colics. And dogs. Look at this dog here, in paradise, completely relaxed. There is a human in between and he's just staying there. If you have cats, you will notice you can't get your cat off the mat. They sense it. They know what feels good to them. Human, we have lost this connection with magnetic field, but animals have that. That's how they can migrate through the earth, for example. Athletes around the world are using the technology. The Swiss Olympic team, they carry 80 to 100 BEMERs with them wherever they go. They need every ounce of energy, so the BEMER helps them regenerate faster. Before you go to the gym, do a higher level on the BEMER, and when you come back, do the lowest level possible, and it will help you get rid of your lactic acid. You will shorten your regeneration phase. It works beautifully. And if you hurt yourself, you will mend your body within half of the time that you would have done without the BEMER. Adidas is asking BEMER to be in their regeneration points at big events, like, for example, Cape Epic in South Africa. Also in the Transalp in Europe, Ores, BEMER is there in the with Adidas in the regeneration tent. So I hope you followed me. Is the BEMER healing anything? No. The BEMER is only triggering vasomotion, bringing more blood flow inside your capillaries, bringing more nutrients and oxygen to your cells, allowing your cells to create more energy. Once your cells are loaded with energy, the body takes over. The internal doctor kicks in. Do you know what's the difference between one person that gets sick all the time and another person that never gets sick? The level of energy. The person who never gets sick has plenty of energy to adapt to the stressors in the environment. The other one doesn't. And any little virus or bacteria, poof, they catch it and they get sick. Only 8 minutes twice a day, that's all you need to do. And even if you feel great, like in my case, I only do 8 minutes in the morning. We have two different BEMER. We have the BEMER Pro, that costs $5,990, and we have the BEMER Classic that costs $4,290. Our number one seller is the BEMER Pro. Why? Because it comes with all the accessory, the full body mat, the intensive applicator, the light applicator, the bee pad. You can do 2 applicators at once, which saves you a lot of time. You can program your BEMER to your needs, which is a fantastic feature that you're not getting with the Classic. And you can, if you have 2 mats, the 2 mats are completely independent of one another, which is like having 2 BEMERs in one, which you cannot do with the Classic. So for this reason, the Pro is the number one, and that's the one I recommend highly. Because at some point you will need all the accessories. You will have spent the same amount as the Pro, and you will still not be able to program and do 2 applicators at once. We also have a B-seat that is great if you're spending a lot of time sitting, or if you're in your wheelchair, if you have back problems, if you have neuropathy in your legs, you can rest your legs on the B-seat. This is a fantastic accessory. With your BEMER comes a 3-year warranty, lifelong system updates, full customer support. We have webinars, conference calls weekly, just to make sure you are supported fully and understand how to use your device. Remember, microcirculation is the key to every aspect of your body. It's the root. And you will notice when you start using the BEMER, you will need much less medication, much less supplements because you will start absorbing them so much better. So you may not get younger, but let me tell you, you can absolutely feel younger. Aging doesn't mean that you have to have aches and pain, and that you have to have insomnia, and that you have to be exhausted. Absolutely not. You can age gracefully, use the BEMER as an anti-aging tool, and feel up to your maximum. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.